today?
It's the appearance day.
Of Lord Vamanadeva.
Right.
So I geared up a class from Srila Prabhupada on Lord Vamanadeva's appearance.
It was raining. Oh, it must be downstairs. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. All right, let me just call this up here. Yeah, I got my daughter.
Thank you.
I live on a river here. This is the West Credit River.
Wow. That's
You may
wonderful.
Yeah. It's gone down quite a bit. I heard it's more of a swamp now. It used to be more of a river. You may hear some ducks quacking every once in a while, or some geese. Honk, honk, honk.
Good.
So
We
my
can
little bit of
prove.
Vrindavan. Sorry?
Yeah, pretend we're in Vrindavan Forest. Okay.
Krishna Chandra's here. Yay. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna, Krishna Chandra. Prabhu. Welcome, welcome.
Or gearing up the class of Srila Prabhupada. He's going to show you.
Where are you?
Hare Krishna.
Dhanyavad, Hare Krishna.
Jai Hare Guru, Dandavad Pranams. Jai Krishna Chandra Prabhu, Dandavad Pranams.
Dandavad Pranams.
All glories to the assembled, all glories to the assembled and disassembled devotees.
Okay. I was going to get the flowers.
I just came from an ecstatic japa walk. I walked about, an hour and a half to these waterfalls. And there are these two young guys, one guy with long dreadlocks, and they're cousins. They're both around 20 years old. And I got into the river to cool off. And I just talked to them about Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna. And they both took my numbers. I told them I was afraid I was going to be late for our broadcast. So they got in their hot rod. They had this Honda, one of those low riders,
Yeah.
with the wing in the back, to keep it from flying. And they zoomed me to my van to get here on time.
Wow.
But
it's beautiful where you are. Is your garden behind?
Yeah, there's a river there actually, just on beyond the. Yeah, I'll take you on a little tour here. This is the West Credit River.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, reeds and then the river.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, on a good day, some swans actually come here.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
We were, I didn't know if we were starting at one, but this boy just came. He's been around devotees. They named him Pitambar or Peter.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll be able to join us today, but I was interviewing him for to help with the cows. He knows how to milk, and we're gonna be doing gardens and like that. And
you're turning everyone into a gopa.
Yeah, kind of.
That's your mission.
Well, no, really, yeah. There was it actually was this. I think it was Bhaktisiddhanta's. Yeah, it was. He was Jivan Janardhan Maharaj. Very humble, very, very humble. And he named his mission after Saraswati mission, not like Saraswati like Sridhar Maharaj, but his mission was he wanted a very small place named after his Guru Maharaj, which was Saraswati Thakur. And he had cows. And he said he would personally take care of them. Yeah, about 6 cows for the Goshala.
You're describing one of Prabhupada's godbrothers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's the one that actually came to live at the Keshava at Devananda Gaudiya Math after the departure of Bhakti Pragyan Kesava Maharaj in 1968. And he came to encourage and guide the devotees there. At that time was Baman Maharaj, and Srila Narayan Maharaj, and Trivikram Maharaj. Wow, is that an eagle or?
It's the geese.
Wow.
Canadian geese heading to Hawaii.
Canadian geese, yes.
Uh-huh.
I know those guys. So yeah, one of these days I'll show you guys the backyard here, and it's kind of like Navadvip because it's more on the coconut. We have coconut grove and like that.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay, so Bhavatrini went to do something. She'll be back.
Yeah, let's start. So I've queued up here the song for the appearance of Lord Vamanadeva.
Right.
And if we finish the Prabhupada lecture, we can continue reading from where we left off on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because we started that last Wednesday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it. It was like
Yeah, we missed you too.
possible.
But Jivan Mukta joined us and he got things all fired up.
Oh, nice.
And
Nice.
Nanda Patni, no, Nanda Patni didn't make
Oh.
it, but she brought the Rasangi and Raghavendu.
Yeah, I miss them. Always, we're such good friends with them.
Ah,
And we stay with them when we go to Santa Cruz. They live in Watsonville. It's very close to Santa Cruz, California.
and Krishna Chandra, if you have any pals that you ever want to invite, please do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Mm.
Okay, let me find the bhajan. We all know it. It's from the Dash Avatar by Jayadev Goswami, and here it is. And I just have to call it up. Share the screen. There it is. Okay, so anyway, I'll start. Chaya yasi vikramane bale adbhuta vamana padanaka nirajanita janapavana kesavadrita vamana rupa Jai Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Hari Chala Yasi Vikramani Mani Madhuta Vamana Kesapadrita Vamanarupa Jai Jagadisha Jai Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Hari Chalayasi Vikramani Palim Adbhuta Vamana Padanaka Nirajanita Janapavana Kesavadrita Vamana Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hari Jai Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Hari Chalayasi Vikramani Palim Adbhuta Vamana Padanaka Nirajanita Pavana Kesavadrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Jai Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Kesavadrita Vahamana Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya
Jaya Jagadisha Hare.
Kesavadrita Vahamana Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya
Hi.
Krishna Chandra, could you please read the translation?
Yes, Guru. O Keshava, Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana, all glories to you. O wonderful dwarf, by your massive steps you deceive King Bali, and by the Ganges water that has emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you deliver all living beings within this world.
Argo Nagapatni.
Jai Nandapatni Devi Dasi Ki Jai.
Hi.
Jai.
Welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Thank you for sending your friends, our friends, Rasangi and Raghavendu.
Yeah, we missed them.
It was great. She told me she's been meaning to come for a long time. So that's great. You sent her. Okay. So here is the original painting of Lord Vamanadeva. Bhavatrini Nirhari Prabhu's, or maybe Nandapatni. Do any of you know who did this original painting? This is the oldest one I could find.
No.
BBT artist.
I don't think I've seen that. It does look like quite a kind of Jadharani-ish style.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I don't think it was what's his name?
Ricky?
Definitely
Mark-
early. Yeah.
I found
it's
it.
early.
I found it unique because he's got 3 legs in this painting.
Yeah.
The other one is gonna do that.
The 3 steps, I guess, was the idea.
Right. I remember the first time I saw it, I thought, well, I guess if Lord Vishnu can have 4 arms, Vamanadeva can have 3 legs.
Maybe he does.
Yeah, see, from that leg going up, I guess that's the crack on the universe. But it
Yeah,
is
yeah. And isn't that the
Right.
Ganges comes through
Yeah.
that point? Yeah. So I
Right.
think they
That's
tried
right.
to make a little bit of water there.
Right. That white stuff is water.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Right. So, yeah, Nirhari Prabhu, would you like to start? Why don't we just read a couple paragraphs, each Bhavatrini, then Nandapatni, and then come back to me. And
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada lecture on Vamanadeva, the 15th incarnation, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.19, September 24, 1972, Los Angeles.
were either of you there at that time?
Bhavatrini might have.
September.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
72.
was there.
Wow,
She got initiated.
cool.
I arrived in 73 to Los Angeles,
I was there
but you were there. Yeah. Okay.
for this class.
Srila Prabhupada, Govindam prayers, plain sings alone. Oh, I remember hearing this one. It's amazing. Lead sing into Jai Radha Madhava, Prema Dhani. Thank you very much. Devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Obeisances break. Pradumna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Canto 1, Chapter 3, text number 19. Leads chanting of verse. Prabhupada and devotees repeat. Panchadasham Vamanakam Kritagat Advaram Bate Padatrayam Yachamana. And you have to scroll.
Gora.
Sorry, I was just trying to get on my chair.
But now
Oh, no, don't go to, okay, right there. Padatrayam Yachamana Pratida Ditsustri Pishtapam. Sorry. Prabhupada. Next. Prabhupada. Ladies chant. That's all right. Word meaning Pradumna. Panchadasham, the 15th in the line. Banakam, the dwarf Brahmin. Kridva, by assumption of. Agat,
You can make
went. Advaram, arena of sacrifice. Bale, O King Bali. Padatrayam, 3 steps only. Yachamana, begging. Pratyaditsu, willing at heart to return. Tripistapam, the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems. Translation. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf, Brahmin, Vaman, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. Prabhupada. So Vamanadeva. Chalaya Shivikrama Netalim Balim Abduta Vamana Padanaka Nirancha Nitajana Pavana Kesavadrita Vamana Sarira Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Dvadashavatar Stotra 5. So Bali Maharaj, he was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. They were in the demon's family. But in the demon's family also, there is sometimes Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj. Prahlad and Bali, they are the acharyas. They are 12 bona fide acharyas. Balir, Bayasakir, Bayam. The acharyas are mentioned. Dwadasha Mahajan. Swayambhavu. Swayambhavu means Lord Brahma. You want me to read down to a certain point, or
A couple paragraphs each, maybe Bhavatrini now.
So I've done 1 paragraph so far, I think, or 2.
Well, actually a few.
You're going too far. I'm sorry. Okay, so you want to go next?
Okay.
Don't make sound. Don't make sound.
Right. So I was actually at this class.
Do you remember it? Do you remember it?
Of course. You can't imagine being at his classes. I mean, he came in the room from the back door and everyone fell flat on their face, and then he would talk to us as he walked up, and the doors would open and Govindam prayers would come on, and he would sing along, and he'd take Charnamrita at the 3rd altar. He'd pay obeisances at each altar. And then he would sit down, and usually he would lead Jaya Radha Madhava. And then Pradumya would do the chanting, and he'd give us all the chants, a few people to repeat the verse. And I only did it one time. There was a competition, and he only had a few people do it. And when I did it, he said, "Very good." He always
so impressive. It was such a figure just to see Prabhupada coming in that room. It just all lit up. The atmosphere was so intense.
I attended his 6 canto classes in Detroit, and the 7th canto classes in Mayapur. I attended a few, not as many as you.
Yesterday I was reading a little short thing. This devotee, I think it's Mahanta.
Yes.
His name, Mahanta, and he went to this Shaivite, and who was a Jyotir. He could predict, he could see your features and tell your future, etc. So he brought a Krishna book. Did you read this? Did you hear this story? Okay, so he brought
Mahanta,
Krishna book.
Mahanta is who? Mahanta is the god brother?
Mahanta is our god brother.
Mahanta.
Yeah, and I have actually. I didn't bring my phone.
I have mine. But do you want to take time to?
It's on
finish?
Leela.
So, and probably.
Well, I'll tell you real briefly. So he brought a Krishna book with him, and he turned the, on the back of Krishna book, Prabhupada is looking at a champak, a golden champak flower. We have them here in Honolulu at the temple.
Oh,
And
yes.
I think that photograph that was taken at the temple. And Prabhupada is just enter meditation. He mentions that's the color of Radha, that's the color of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the man started to pull out a little string and some accoutrements and proceeded to measure Prabhupada's ears, Prabhupada's face, and the distance between his eyes and all this stuff. And then he
Hold
paused.
on, I'm a little bit lost. This man was a tailor? Mahanta.
No,
no.
Shivite, a
It's
Shivite.
Shaivite.
He's a face reader and a body reader.
Okay, and someone,
Astrologer.
Mahanta brought
Astrologer.
him to meet Prabhupada?
No, it's a book. It's
Yeah.
a picture in a book of.
Oh, I'm
Prabhupada.
sorry. Okay. All right, I wasn't
So
following.
Mahanta brought the Krishna book with him. And he
Okay.
wanted to consult this man who's Jyotish
A
Okay.
and
Shivite,
also
though.
Shivite.
Okay.
And he, I think he was ready to go to the Kumbh Mela or meet his Gurudev, wasn't he? Or
I don't know.
yeah.
What,
Anyhow, he proceeded to. He pulled out of his little box a string, measured Prabhupada's face, his ears, eyes, and like that. And then he said, "Oh," he meditated. He said, "Oh, all the four sampradaya, the four acharyas are in his body."
Huh.
He said, "Too bad I can't see the whole full feature." So Mahanta he had a full picture of Prabhupada. So this man proceeded to again measure his body, and he said, "I tell you, this is extraordinary. All of them, he's embodying all these acharyas." He said, "I want to join the movement. I want to beg Lord Shiva for the benediction." Because he said, "Mahanta, why you want to do this?" He said, "I want to tell Lord Shiva I'm going to Kailash, but when I get there, I want to ask him that I want to join the movement with him, this movement of Lord Chaitanya with Srila Prabhupada." So
Wow.
he said, "Please leave me. Can you leave me this book?" So Mahanta said, "Of course." He gave and donated that book. So I just thought a little note, as she was saying, when Prabhupada entered the room, and I remember seeing him in LA, lecture after lecture, when he would come in, it was just extraordinary. And all of you probably,
Yes.
Nanda Patni too. I mean, he's seen him, and and you too. And then, anyhow, that was a little thing. It just
Dr. Patni
reminded
saw him
me.
when she was just a 16-year-old girl.
Yes, I remember her telling the story. It was
He has
very
George
personal.
Harrison at the same time.
At the
Well,
Krishna
I
book,
wish I'd sat in a class with him. I never had that situation. I mean, my
you
only
will.
time was that time. Yeah, sadly.
I was fortunate enough. I think I attended over 200 classes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Phew,
Anyway,
Wow.
we should go back
she's
to this
making
class.
a little
Yeah, I
garden.
hope,
for
Yeah.
Lord
well, actually, it's your turn to read, but we're waiting for you.
Oh,
I know.
yeah,
I'm going
please.
to. I'm going to as soon as.
But
it
we
comes
know
out.
that Nara Hari Prabhu, he can go unlimitedly. He has so much nectar.
Sorry.
Yeah.
A big mouth, that's all. I just
So, I just
Okay.
wanted to say before I read again that Srila Prabhupada started his classes with an opening. Like he always had something clever to say, like this one he goes, "So this is a demon family, but sometimes they're like Pralad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj appear in these families." The way he puts it, it's like it grabs your attention, and it's
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Prabhupada knew how to whet everyone's appetite.
right.
yeah.
Draw them in. Draw them in.
Okay, so Swayambhu Narada Muni, Swayambhu Narada. Narada is also one of the authorities. They have been accepted at authority for understanding religious principles. Religious principle is not to be understood by from a rascal, no. That anyone comes and says religious topics, no. We have to receive it from the authority. So Bali Maharaj is one of the authority, one of the 12 authorities. First is Lord Brahma, the next Narada, the next Lord Shiva, then the Kumaras, then Kapila Dev, then Manu, Vaivaswata Manu, then Prahlad Maharaj, then Janaka Maharaj, then Bhishma Dev, then Bali Maharaj, then Shukadev Goswami, and then Yamaraj. It is stated in the Shastra that Mahajano Yeya Gata Panta, CC Madhya 17,186.
Panta means path.
Was that too?
Nanda Patni, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you? You cannot understand transcendental subject matter simply by dry speculation and argument. You cannot understand, neither by reading Vedic literature. The conclusion is that you have to follow those who are authorities. Mahajano Yena Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. CC Madhulila 17,186. Guha means the cave, mountain cave, and Guha means the heart. So suppose something is very valuable is there in the cave of the mountain, and you do not know how to search it out. But if you know somebody who knows it, if you follow him, that he is going there, so I may also follow. So religious principles cannot be manufactured, neither it can be made by speculation. So actually, there cannot be many religion. The rascal theory that, quote, there are as many religious systems as I can believe. You believe something, that's all right. I believe something, that's all right. He believes something, that's all right. No, it's not like that. Then everyone will believe like any nonsense thing that becomes religion? No. Religion means Dharmam tu Sakshad Bhagavat Pranitam, Bhagavatam 6.3.19. Religion means the codes, the laws given by God. That is religion.
Yay, Jivan Mukta Prabhu is here again.
Okay.
Your turn, Jivan Mukta. Are you able or are you busy? You have to take prasadam, or are you okay?
I'm just washing some dishes.
Oh, okay.
Can I pass on this one? I'll be.
Sure. Okay, it's my turn then. All right. That is religion. That's for you, Nanda Patni.
Yeah, you're coming in at man cannot manufacture.
Okay. Man cannot manufacture. I have several times explained, just like law, state law. The state law can be given by the government. You cannot manufacture law. Nobody will care for your law. The state law is that you must keep right your car. As soon as there is red light, you must stop. If you violate, you will be punished. Although it is a very simple thing. Similarly, religion means the law of God. You cannot violate it. If you violate, then you will be punished. If you think that, quote, this religious system is very stiff, let me manufacture my own religion, unquote. So that kind of religion is not accepted by the Vedic culture. Mm-hmm. And when actually the real religion is violated, yadha hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. Glani means violation. Tadatmanam sujamyaham. At that time, the Supreme Lord or his representative comes to establish real religion. That is stated in the Bhagavad-Gita. Dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge. Bhagavad-Gita 48. Dharma samsta. Real religious principle. Real religious principle means to abide by the laws of the Supreme Lord, God. But they do not believe in God. Everyone is God. I am God. You are God. He is God. Everyone is God. So whatever law you give yourself, that becomes your religion. This is going on. That's my favorite Prabhupada. That one, what is the difficulty? And this is going on.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Krishna Chandra Prabhu, let's see. No, the way the order is now is back to Hari, but anyway, somehow or other.
Krishna Chandra, he started reading.
Yeah.
And
So
that followed.
how about two from you, and then maybe Jivan Mukta will be ready after you're done. Maybe. So
Sure.
God is not so cheap.
So God is not so cheap that you become God. I become God. He becomes God. The Shastra says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam, Srimad Bhagavatam 1:3-28. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha. God is Krishna, the Supreme Lord, the original God. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda. Brahma Samhita 5:1. God, Krishna, also says in the Bhagavad-Gita, Mataha Parataram Nanyat. Bhagavad-Gita 7:7. There is no superior authority than me. The Vedanta Sutra also says, Janmadi Asya Yataha, Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. The original source of everything. Who is that original source? God. Who is that God? Krishna. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartate. Bhagavad-Gita 10:8. I am the origin of everything. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samvitaha. Those who are Buddha. Buddha means one who knows, one who is in the knowledge. Bhav samvitaha. Bhava samanvitaha. Knowing everything in ecstasy. Oh, here is God. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Bhagavad-Gita 10:8.
Jivan Mukta, are you still doing the dishes, or can you read?
Yes.
This mic is
Okay, how do you want to continue? It seems Jivan Mukta is busy.
so he read the verse. So everything is there. God is there. His name is there. His address is there. His law is there. Everything is there. But the rascals will not accept it. That is the position. Therefore, we had to follow the Mahajan. So Bali Maharaj is one of the Mahajan. How he became Mahajan? Because he's surrendering fully onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Vamanadeva incarnation of Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa. Keep reading, or just two paragraphs. So the incident is that Bali Maharaj was very powerful, and he conquered the whole universe, even the demigods, all. So Vishnu is always in favor of the demigods because demigods, they are also devotees. The difference between Suda and Ashura, Ashura means envious of the demigods. That is called Ashura. Sura Dvisha. The other name of the Asura, those who are envious of devotees, unquote. That is only business.
Excuse me. Bhavatrini.
Okay. Can you, there are two classes of men are always there. Sometimes one class is more in number and the other class is more in number. That is, but two classes. Vavo Bhuta Sargao Loke, Bhagavad-Gita 16:6. There are two classes of men, living entities, Diva, Ashura, Eva, Cha. One is called Diva, demigods, and the other is called Asura. So who is Diva? Vishnu Bhakto Bhaved Diva. Those who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, they are called demigods or Vaishnava. All Vaishnavas are demigods. And those who are not, Ashuras tad viparyaya. Anyone opposite number against Vishnu, they are called Asuras. So sometimes in the Asuras family also there are Vaishnavas by the grace of Narada. Narada makes, just like Prahlad Maharaj, became a great devotee by the grace of Narada. Although he was born of a atheist father, Hiranyakashipu. So Narada Muni's business is to travel all over the universe and make Vaishnava. So this Bali Maharaj, he conquered all over the universe and the demigods were defeated. So Vamanadeva, he also one of the considered demigods, Upendra.
So he went to Bali Maharaj by a trick, because Bali Maharaj, Krishna knows that Bali Maharaj was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, and he was a great devotee at heart. He knew that. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshri Arjuna Tishtati, Bhagavad-Gita 1861. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart. He knows everyone. So therefore, in order to return back to the kingdoms taken from the demigods, he made a trick. He went there. Bali Maharaj was performing a great sacrifice, Bali Dare. So he went there and asked Bali Maharaj, you're performing such a great sacrifice. I am at your door. I am a Brahmin. Will you kindly give me some donation? Yes, why not? That is I will give you whatever you want, I will give you. So immediately his spiritual master, the demon spiritual master, Sukracharya means, Sukra means seminal, Acharya means you do not know. In India, there's a class of men, you do not know. In India, there's a class of men, they're called gurus, the professional guru rather. So Sukracharya, he was a very learned scholar, and he knew everything that here, Vamanadeva, he is the incarnation of Vishnu. He has come to cheat Bali. He will ask something, and then he'll take everything from Bali. He knew it. So sometimes cheating also done by the Supreme Lord for the sake of the devotee.
Like just like Prabhupada told the story of how he was actually, I believe it was according to some astrologer, he was fated to become one of the richest men in all of India, but one of his business partners cheated him. And he quoted that famous verse, Yasyaham anugrinami harishe vachanam shanai, that if Krishna likes you, he'll give you everything. And if he loves you, he takes everything away and gives himself. Is that the correct translation of that? Do you remember?
In one of the classes in Los Angeles during this time, Srila Prabhupada said, I don't remember which class it was. He goes, if Krishna likes you, he gives you everything. If he loves you, he says, okay, rascal, I take everything away.
Jiva Mukta, I don't know if you heard earlier, Bhavatrini attended over 200 classes by Srila Prabhupada. Isn't that amazing?
Wow, that's incredible. So many of the lectures that I'm listening to, you were there.
Yes.
I was in some of them too. So like 200.
Yeah. You came a year later, right, Hari?
You know,
to Los Angeles, yeah.
You know, the wonderful thing about Prabhupada's lectures is that you can hear the lectures of 1966, 67, and the ones of 76 and 77. And like, they're just, it's not like one is dated, you know, like this is such transcendental knowledge is, you know, timeless. So it doesn't matter where you're listening. It's just so relevant and so perfect. It's just so wonderful.
One time I got the chance to follow Srila Prabhupada from San Francisco Rath Yatra to Los Angeles, and from Los Angeles to San Diego. I was living there in San Diego, and I was wondering, from San Francisco to Los Angeles, what is he going to say? What will be the theme of his lecture? And all the way from San Francisco to San Diego, Prabhupada spoke that you're not your body. In such a brilliant, genius way. But it was that. And I noticed a little difference in the lectures when they were very few and very intimate. In 68, he speaks about rasa dance, how we should all join, that ultimately we should be happy joining the great party, because Krishna likes to party. That you should all be. And, but by the 70s, you have more quantity of devotees, so I think that all the area was there. But I remember being surprised. I said, San Diego, wow, what is Prabhupada going to speak about? And he looked at me and he spoke almost identical lectures. Not really, but they were all about you're not your body.
Yeah, can hear it hundreds of times and I still don't get it.
And every time he says it, he gives you something newer about it.
You know, what helps me kind of get some inkling of understanding is just meditate on the fact that one day we're going to leave our bodies. Just like Yudhishthira Maharaj says, that's the most miraculous thing in this world, is that we see everyone dying.
Yeah.
Somehow don't think it's going to happen to us. So, you know, if you meditate during the day, that, you know, one day you're kicked out of this body, and that helps change your perspective on what you're seeing, you know, and your perspective on when you see others and other bodily forms, and even when you see the sun in the sky and this cloud, everything changes when you realize that this body is really temporary. Like, we're getting old. Like, we should really start getting an understanding that we are not these bodies, you know, even if, you know, the death of everyone else around us somehow, you know, eludes us, you know, our old age certainly shouldn't be eluding us.
Yeah, those are the test questions that were given to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And he said, what is the most wondrous thing in the world? And it's that he says, that we all think that it won't happen to us.
Yeah.
That death won't come.
It really is incredible. It's an incredible.
So Prabhupada said, it's all right to understand it. It's very good, but we must realize it. We must work on the plane of soul. And that will change our relationships, wouldn't it? Now how we treat each other, how we, you know, we're a spark of divine.
Yeah, how we interact, you know, with the material energy in general, and how we interact with the spiritual energy, you know, like you said, especially with the devotees. And it also helps us develop compassion, because you can actually, you can understand that the devotees are so fortunate that they actually understand, they have some understanding of Krishna, whereas the non-devotees are just so unfortunate, because they're stuck in this illusion. And if they die without coming in contact in one form or another with Krishna consciousness, it's very you know, very tragic.
For better or for worse, we are their good fortune if we give them one of Prabhupada's books.
Yes, you have to read one line, one word. Remember that, like, to Sridhar Prabhupada, Sridhar to enter his room, and Prabhupada is reading his own book. Prabhupada would do that. He was reading, and he's like a child, and I seen him like that when, you know, I brought him 3 books edited. And he was just like a child with candy, you know. It's like, but his eyes went so big. And
wow.
He told Sridhar, oh, this is fabulous. See Sruto, he used to call him Sruto. And he said, see Sruto, if you read just one paragraph of this book, it'll make you Krishna. No, just one line. It'll make, no, one word will make you Krishna conscious. That's the potency of the pure devotee.
But everything, for every negative, there's a positive. So we're not our body is a good meditation, and we want to realize it. But who are we? We're serving
Jivara
of
Sarupa
Krishna.
Ho
Yeah.
Nitya Krishna Das.
And so the best meditation is to meditate on the Guru or Krishna, Radha Krishna.
Well,
or
actually, to listen to
Chaitanya.
Harikatha.
Mhm.
That's what for the most advanced and for the beginners. Everything is there. Nectar and hearing. That's all it's going to cure us. And that's what it ultimately, because it all comes at once. The impersonalists think, well, when I realize I'm merged, and that was at the end, this for them that's Ananda. So the personalists and impersonalists up to the point of Atma, they're pretty much, that's Java Dharma explains that. But Prabhupada would tell us that actually by listening to Harikatha, we surpass that, we come to that, we adjust our position, that we understand how finite we are, but we understand that we're servants, and then all at once, like when in that morning walk, when I remember I told you that where Prabhupada pointed out the sun was about to come out, everything was starting to get clear, and he said, you'll see, one day when Krishna appears, everything is clear. That rope that looked like a snake is a rope, and the rest is all, what you see, it will all be very clear and revealed. So it's not that independently we do some methodology or some, many times we get confused to think, well, I get to get purified, I have to do this, that, and that will attain Krishna. No, we can chant for millions of lifetimes, follow all the rules and regulations, but unless we hear from a self-realized soul like we are now, because this is like a frozen Shabda Brahma, sound vibration, when it's written. So when we hear this, that's our way out, that's our way in.
And on that note, we haven't heard Jivan Mukta read at all. So please, Jivan Mukta.
Okay, it's your turn. Before and there's the shloka in the Bhagavatam, of course, that summarizes all of that, Prabhu. That by Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, by devotional service, you automatically, instantly, like you said, simultaneously get jnanam, vijnanam, and vairagyam. So you automatically, that all comes. Okay, so where do I
So this is not cheating.
Oh, so this is not cheating, just like father sometimes cheats a son. Suppose something is there and two brothers, small children, they are fighting. One has taken, another is crying. So the one will not deliver to the other. So father says, my dear child, will you kindly give me this? So he gives to the father and he delivers to the other child. Laughter, you see? So sometimes God has to do such cheating of affection. That is not cheating, actually, but the cheating propensity is there in God. Otherwise, where we get it? Laughter. But we use cheating for our personal sense gratification. But if you use that cheating propensity for Krishna's satisfaction, then it is all right. Mani miti kritam papam punyayaiva kalpate. That I just want to interject there. That reminds me of the story of when Mother Malati tells where they were actually in San Francisco stealing butter. You remember that story?
Yeah. From the back of a truck or something.
Yeah. So Prabhupada, they told Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada kind of said, well, maybe, that's okay, but maybe we should stop doing that.
I was going to say that a lot of Sankirtan devotees back in the 70s, they would have really liked this statement, but if you use that cheating propensity for Krishna's satisfaction, it's all right. By hook or by crook, give them a book.
Yeah, it's just that I saw the Poor Authority. I used to go distribute books too.
Yeah.
And I saw and we used to wait for the servicemen to come. They're young boys, from the army, fresh with a fat check. In those days, $500, $600, and and some devotees would be expert in just talking to them out of that check. But I saw that this boy, he did few steps, and then he looked at the books and he realized, I don't have my paycheck. He threw the books in the trash.
Yeah.
So this is, it's like, now we're an
Prabhupada said
ontology.
if someone goes away angry, it is our nonsense.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I
So
I started a process of Sankirtan where you compete with the other devotees in the airport to see who can preach the purest and who can assist the other devotees the most in distributing
Nice.
books.
Nice.
And actually, they used to send me around to other temples to describe the policy, but in the end, they ended up having me sell paintings at Kmart's. But anyway, we were like, we always made sure that the person understood what was going on and were happy with the books. And we increased our book distribution more than double using this process.
And what was that process exactly?
Well, like one devotee had done a book translating the different languages. And she said, what we'd really like to be saying is, hello, are you coming or going from Vaikuntha? Actually, I'm a devotee on the Sankirtan tree of Lord Chaitanya, and I'm just trying to distribute love of God on behalf of my spiritual master. And so when I get to the line about trying to distribute love of God, the people would say, oh, can I give you a donation? And then they'd say, oh, what is that book? And so we'd show them the book and we'd open it up like to the picture of, or to the verse where it says, this Srimad Bhagavatam is the mature ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. It's semi-soft and sweet and very easily swallowed. And Mulapriti added, and we drink it with our ears, through our ears.
Nigama kalpataror galitam palang.
Yes, yes, yes. So anyway, people would say, oh, can I get one of those books? Can I give you a donation? Well, I was doing like $1,000 a day. I was doing 20 to 40 big books.
Just by pure presentation.
Plus, the other devotees would assist. They'd come over and say to the person, like, they'd encourage them, and they'd like, some devotees had the records and some had stickers, and
we did it all.
Books. And we would all, and everything was based on Krishna consciousness if we knew their language. If we didn't know their language, we had to go back to some lines, how, this is about, but we changed the lines from, like some of the lines would be translated like, hi, handsome, where are you from? This is a book on yoga, it's, just some materialistic thing, or, so
where were you primarily stationed?
At that time I was in Philadelphia, and then they brought me to Los Angeles, and I did books there for a while, and then they found I could make even more money if they stuck me in front of Kmart with cookies and brownies.
What?
Yes.
You made more money than $1,000 a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they were like 2,000. I assisted them.
and with books, cookies.
No books at all. And I wrote a letter to Satsarupa. Well, he was saying we have to sell the other things first and then use the money to give them the books. And I said, well, doesn't, so we can get the money, then we can give them Krishna. And I said, well, isn't it true that if you give Krishna, then Lakshmi will automatically come? He goes, yes, but we don't want to disturb the minds of the new devotees. So we're doing paraphernalia. So I got kicked out of book distribution.
Yes, we went through that. Jivan Mukta was the supreme oil painting salesman for Krishna.
Well, I have to say though that although it was
Prashadam.
It wasn't like book distribution, but when you surrender and you're given a service and you surrender to it, it was pretty ecstatic, you know,
Oh,
traveling.
it was. It was
Yeah.
very ecstatic.
And-
Jagadhatri was my main partner for the Christmas marathon, doing cookies and brownies every year. And we had one lady that bought 200 cookies and brownies from us every year. And so all these people were getting prasadam.
Nice.
But we weren't allowed to give books because the stores we were in front of wouldn't allow it.
Oh,
But
It was
we,
a Gargamuni's party, collecting party, and so we had a quota. Man, at that time, you know, you had to do about $200 a day, or you're out of the party. But and we use the letters that actually I found out later on. Anyhow, there were letters of introduction by the ambassador to UN, the U.S. ambassador to UN, citing the work that, you know, the welfare work that ISKCON was doing. But I never really felt comfortable. So I would form we have 5 vans, and Keshava Prabhu was he would drive us. He actually, Keshava had just come back from the army. He took a little hiatus in the army, and he used his knowledge that he gained there. So he bought 5 vans, he equipped them. We had CB radios, and it actually is safe in Gargamuni's van. And he would scout each town that we went to see where the Walmarts were, the malls, the shopping centers, so we can be dropped. And usually we had 1 meal a day. Actually, Gargamuni would stay back, and Rohini Nandan, he'll be the cook, an excellent cook. And he will feed us no grains. And it's amazing, but we didn't get sick, you know, even in the winter. And 1 tub of nuts and sour cream. Because the prasadam was so spicy. Gargamuni later on says, well, you were all young. I couldn't afford to like give you so much prasadam. So I said, Rohini, just make it really spicy. But we're pretty young, 20, 19, 18. And
so that you wouldn't eat too much. That's why he made it so spicy.
Yeah.
right, so you wouldn't eat as
But
much.
he told me that later. But see, the main thing is that we were collecting the intention, what was there. It was to serve Krishna, to serve the devotees, because the money was going to build Mayapur.
Mm.
And it was going to the BDT, and it was going to pay off the mortgage. I had a quota myself of $1,500 a week for a few
this
years.
was the direct contribution of Gargamuni through his party to the Mayapur complex.
We have a half an hour left to glorify Lord Vamanadeva, and hopefully we'll get the Bhaktivinoda Thakur too.
There is morality, and there is then, when it comes to Krishna, then that's suspended, because if you see it from a mundane point of view, the gopis are really immoral. They break all the rules of Vedic conduct. They leave the babies, they leave their husbands, and they go to serve Krishna. So that's a very high stage, very, very high. But what is the lesson behind that? And they're ready to give the foot dust to, their feet to heal Krishna's headache. So it's just to show their position. But it's the intention. What's the intention there? And at times it wasn't very clear, but the intention was that it was to serve our Guru Maharaj, our Srila Prabhupada, and that would serve others, the humanity. So I did ask for books to be distributed, and then finally Keshava got me a box of Krishna books. So.
Can you finish your second paragraph, Jiva Mukta Prabhu?
Sure. So the Bali Maharaj was cheated but
So did you, I don't think you finished, so sometimes God, did you read that?
Yeah, that's finished.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, you did, okay.
Right, mani mita kritam papam.
Okay,
So should I go on, or is that it?
no, finish the next paragraph.
So the Bali Maharaj was cheated, but being cheated, he became conqueror. So this Shukracharya said to Bali Maharaj, don't promise to this Vamana anything. He is Lord Vishnu. He has come to cheat you. Bali Maharaj became more enlightened. Oh, he is Lord Vishnu. But you have taught me that everything should be given to Vishnu. So if Vishnu has come at my door, why are you asking not to make any promise? So that means Sukracharya were playing duplicity. He taught something and now he's saying another thing. Therefore, Bali Maharaj said that I cannot accept. I give up your company from this day.
Wow.
That you are checking me to offer everything to Vishnu? Oh, I do not want such spiritual master.
Heavy.
Mhm. But it's interesting that he's saying that Shukracharya initially was teaching them
Yeah.
to Vishnu and they're demons. So,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Jarasanda's father and him, they were worshippers of Lord Vishnu, but they couldn't recognize Krishna as the Supreme Lord. They did not.
Uh-huh.
Jarasandha worshipped Lord Vishnu?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Krishna Chandra, back to you, Prabhu. So that means.
So that means that is the Shastric injunction that anyone who is not a Vishnu devotee or a Vaishnava, he cannot become Guru. That is the injunction of the Shastra. Sat karma nipuno vipro mantra tantra visharadaha. Padma Purana. A Brahmin, very learned, he knows his duties, Brahminical duties, very well, just like Sukracharya. Sat karma nipunaha. Sat karma nipunaha. Brahmin have got 6 kinds of occupation. Patana, yajana, dana, pratigraha. Brahmin should be very learned. He should teach others also Vedic knowledge. Patana, yajana. He must be a devotee or a great worshipper, and he should teach others also how to worship. Yajana, dana, pratigraha. He will accept charity from others, and he will give in charity again to others. These are the 6 occupations of a Brahmin.
Prabhupada taught us, he said to Hanuman, the Swami opened the temple, and he told him, you make $1 million, spend $1 million. So our budget, we will do whatever we collected that day. I was the treasurer, the vice president, and Sankirtan. So I had to come back to the office, do accounting, and then separate, pay the rent, then print more books. And if there was any money left, that was for Boga.
I was just reading last night, Narada Muni telling the story of Mugrari the hunter, and how the same point came up, because when he became a devotee, he asked, like, how, if I give up hunting, how am I going to maintain myself and my family? And Narada Muni said, don't worry, you'll see. And so just depend on Krishna. So what happened? You remember the story. So he ended up getting so much donated to him in charity that it was way more than he could, that he needed. And he said, I only need for myself. So he gave the rest away. And Prabhupada in the purport says that we should just seek to have enough, like food and whatever we need, just for the day, and for the tomorrow, trust in Krishna, and he'll provide for tomorrow. Don't just like gather and hoard, and don't worry about where things are going to come, for the future, that Krishna will provide.
But he was also, Narada Muni was very pleased because Magari requested, please don't send me so much food.
Yes, that's right.
He says, I only send enough for
just
the
enough
2 of us to consume every day. And that was very pleasing to his guru.
Prabhupada said that a Brahmin is someone who, if you give him $1 million today, he'll spend it all in Krishna's service, and he'll come back tomorrow and ask you for another $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make them bankers.
Prabhupada giving away his gold watches.
You know the story.
That's why Vaishyas are the bankers, not the Brahmins.
Nanda Patni, would you like to continue? So Shastra says.
So Shastra says, Sat karma nipuno vipra, a Brahman well conversed with these duties of Brahminical duties, and mantra tantra visharada, an expert in studying the mantras, Vedic mantras, and tantra, other Vedic literature. Avaishnavo guruna sasyat. But if he is a Vaishnava, it means that he doesn't worship Lord Vishnu, but other demigods. And then he cannot become guru. That is not allowed. You cannot become guru. Sat karman nipuno vipro mantra. So the Sukracharya, he was against Vishnu. So Bali Maharaj immediately rejected him. Therefore, he became a Mahajan, exemplary, because you cannot give up your spiritual master. That is a great sin. Once accepted, the spiritual master takes responsibility for the disciple, and disciple also must be obedient to the spiritual master for life, for good. That is the relationship.
So if one rejects spiritual master, becomes a great sinner, most sinful. But so Bali Maharaj rejected his spiritual master. That's a great sin. But he rejected on Shastric ground because he objected for Vishnu worship. Therefore, such spiritual master should be rejected. Should be rejected. Therefore, he became Mahajan, authority. Interesting. He became, it sounds like Prabhupada saying he became an authority to some degree based on rejecting his spiritual master.
But before that, remember some paragraphs back, he said he emptied himself of all desires.
Uh-huh.
That's and I was thinking the parallel with him and Srila Prabhupada, where Sridhar Maharaj said, yes, he is Shaktavesh avatar. Look at how he was able to do his mission because he emptied himself of any desire, anything for himself. He was absolutely surrendered, like he told us that night. I follow my spiritual master's instructions. He fulfilled, that was his thing, to fulfill Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's desires of, propagating the holy name, propagating Krishna consciousness.
Anyone who go on.
No, I just said that you can see now why he has such an exalted position, Srila Prabhupada, because he was most surrender and empty himself of all desires.
Yes.
So he has attained that post, which is the Shaktavesh avatar.
Who could imagine Prabhupada's heart?
I was just thinking today, my body will be 69 in 2 years. And sometimes, I'm feeling old age creeping up, aches and pains here and there. And I'm thinking, but Prabhupada started the Hare Krishna explosion at 69. He got on that freighter and initiated 5,000 disciples and woke up at 1 o'clock every morning to translate hundreds of books and open farms and restaurants. And so, our time is not over. This is supposed to be our best years, right?
Right.
Yeah, I
Prabhu's
witnessed that.
going to be 69 on the 20th on Monday.
Who?
Narihari Prabhu.
Oh, Jai. So his best years are beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, now we have obligations.
Yes. Now you can really start exploding Krishna consciousness.
Yes. It's very important to be grateful, I think,
Yes.
to have such a spiritual master and those who followed him as my instructing gurus. Very, very grateful for that. And at the same time, it gives me an obligation. I must follow.
Yes.
Let's see how. Prabhupada, yesterday I was reading, he said you can try to offer millions of gold coins and you can have them, but to buy time back, but nobody can.
Right.
So see how important it is that all your time will be utilized for Krishna in Krishna consciousness, and how to give it to others.
I read a meme the other day that Kavi Chandra Swami sent me that it was talking about reforming your habits, and one of the points it made was, instead of complaining, develop more gratitude. Gratitude is a remedy for complaining.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's good. Really good.
And that the replacement for toxic friends are mentors.
So no criticism. There's no time really, and we
Right.
cannot change anybody. But if we criticize, look at ourselves always.
Yeah.
And Sri Narayan would say, "Don't criticize." What was it? Take the
We used to call it fault finding. Remember?
Yes, fault
That
yeah
finding.
fault finding.
thing we
Yeah.
used to say, yeah.
There's a poem someone made up on this. It's don't complain, take the blame, chant the name.
Great. Don't complain, take the name.
Wasn't
Take
that
the blame.
Take the blame.
Take the blame. Don't complain, take the blame, chant the name.
was that Tridandi Swami who said that?
No, it was
He was
Narayan
repeating.
Maharaj,
Yeah,
but
he was repeating.
He was
and
repeating that.
Prayojan made the poem up.
Yeah,
Right.
Made the rhyme up.
that's so nice.
Yes.
Like he would tell him, the spiritual master can maybe so-called criticize, but it's not criticism. It's like, oh, the spiritual master chastises, but it's all to correct out of love. It's like the chastisement of a parent that loves the child and wants the best for that child, wants to have a child of character, and so and we represent. So we are representatives of our spiritual master. We have to be disciples. Mean discipline too, doesn't it? Like a disciple is
Right.
someone who has to take the discipline.
The next paragraph has one of my favorite.
That's my paragraph. So if one rejects spiritual master, he becomes a great sinner, most sinful. So Bali Maharaj rejected his spiritual master. That's a great sin. Oh, did I read that one already?
Yeah, you read that one. This
Okay.
one.
Anyone who is obstruction to worship the Supreme Lord, he should be rejected immediately. That is bhakti. Anukul yasya sankalpa pratikulyam varjanam. Anything favorable for advancement of Krishna consciousness should be accepted. Anything unfavorable, that should be rejected. This is Sharanagati. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. GC Madhya 19:167. Now it's your turn, your Hari Prabhu.
We
But
have to worship.
Did you? Sorry, I just want to ask Bhavatrini. Did you want to make a comment on that? Since
No, I just love that. I even
Everything
like the
favorable.
sound of the Anukulyena,
Krishna
Krishna Shilanam.
Okay.
And it's everything, accept everything favorable, reject everything unfavorable.
That's part of the
6 principles of
The
Sharanagati.
yeah, that's it too, but it's within the definition of pure bhakti by Rupa Goswami.
Right.
Anakulina Krishna Nushilanam. So we have to worship Krishna, whatever is favorable. It is not that because the microphone is material, therefore I cannot use it. There are some so-called transcendentalists. Why not? If I speak through the microphone, I can serve better Krishna. Why shall I not accept it? So Anakulyena Krishnanushilanam. Anything which is favorable for serving Krishna, we shall accept. After all, everything belongs to Krishna. Ishabhasham idam sarvam. Isopanishad 1. Nothing belongs to you. Simply we are thieves. We are using Krishna's property for our own sense gratification. Stena eva sa uchate, all thieves. Bhagavatam 3:12. So, should I keep reading?
Yeah, next paragraph, please.
So just like this, Bali Maharaj, he conquered. So actually nothing belongs to Bali Maharaj. But he thought, so Krishna saved him from this theft criminality. He approached him. My dear Bali Maharaj, will you kindly give me 3 feet of land? So he, after rejecting his spiritual master who opposed, he promised, yes, I shall give.
Bhavatrini.
So by 1 feet, the whole lower portion of the universe was covered. The other feet, the upper portion of the universe was covered. Still, the 3rd feet remained. So Vamanadeva asked, now Bali Maharaj, all your possession is now covered by my 2 feet. Where is to keep the other feet? But Bali Maharaj said, yes, there is place. You just put your foot on my head. So in this way, Bali Maharaj surrendered everything, Swarvatma Swapatayam, his personal property and the personal body, everything dedicated to Krishna. He became Mahajan. There are 9 processes of bhakti: Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atma Nevedanam.
Can I interject a little story here?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I'm trying to remember the name of this wonderful Prabhu. He was one of the major money collectors, and he was in Japan. And he's kind of like a Navy SEAL. He's a real kind of mover and a shaker devotee.
Was it Guru Kripa?
Guru Kripa, this is it. Thank you.
It's called the Namahata party with Banabata.
So
He
Guru
was a Marine
Kripa,
sergeant.
this is about, the spiritual master has the right to criticize, etc. So anyway, he was staying next to Prabhupada's room, and early on he would come in and he'd give, a few thousand to Prabhupada and put it on the desk and everything. And Prabhupada would thank him and everything. And then later on, he would come in and sort of plonk 200,000 down on the desk, and Prabhupada wouldn't bat an eyelid. He wouldn't even look at him or anything. And so anyway, he went off to bed and he was asleep. And then Prabhupada's servant came at 12:30 in the night, said, Prabhupada wants to see you. So, he immediately got up and he went in there, yes, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was totally fierce and said, why are you sleeping? And he said, well, Prabhupada, I normally sleep 5 hours. And, he said, well, why are you sleeping? Why are you sleeping so much? And he thought, gosh, because I'm not a Paramahamsa like you, Prabhupada. Why are you not a Paramahamsa? And, he totally sort of laid into him and tore him apart. And Guru Kripa burst into tears.
No, but it wasn't finished there. I think he said, because I'm not sincere. Why are you not sincere?
No, was there one more thing? He dressed him down.
At least one more.
Was it? I can't remember. But anyway, he got Guru Kripa to melt and break down and weep.
Wow.
And then Prabhupada came and actually put his arms around him.
Wow.
And hugged him. And then he read him Krishna book. And then he said, now go back to bed.
Amazing story. Wow.
Such a wonderful story. Oh my gosh, to be able to take that from your spiritual master.
I'd love to get Guru Kripa here. Maybe we can get his information through Bhaktidas, because they're in Thailand. They're both together.
Yeah.
Must have.
I get to see him once a while.
What, Jiva Mukta?
He must have so many nectar.
Oh, he does.
Pastimes.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he's like Guru Kripa uncensored. I mean, he doesn't hold back.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Krishna Chandra Prabhu, your turn.
Thank you. So Bali Maharaj dedicated Atmanivedana, everything, his property, his personal body, everything. So in exchange, Vamana, Lord Vamana, became his doorkeeper. So Vamanadeva said, my dear Bali Maharaj, you are so great a devotee, so in return for your service, I shall always remain your doorkeeper. So by offering everything to Krishna, nobody is loser. You must always remember they are gainer, the best gainer. Because after all, everything belongs to Krishna. Why should we foolishly say, it is mine? It is mine? Aham Mameti, Srimad Bhagavatam 558. Janasya Mohoyam. This is called illusion. Nothing belongs to me. But I think that this is mine. This is mine. This is mine. The whole world. Pardon? Oh.
No, that's a George Harrison song.
Oh,
I
I mean mine, I mean mine, I mean mine.
The whole world is going on like that. Aham Mameti. We are Americans. We are Indians. This belongs to me. That belongs to you. We make such, I mean to say, shareholder, but shareholder for others' property.
Nandapatni.
Everything belongs to God, not only this world. There are many millions and millions of planets. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Loka means planet. Krishna says, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Bhaktaram Jagatapasham Sarvaloka, Gita 5:29. He is the proprietor, but we are dividing. This is American, this is Indian. But how long you will remain American and Indian? Say 50 years? Then if you're going to be a dog, then who is saving your country? This is going on. Nothing belongs to us. Accept everything belongs to Krishna, and we are all offspring of Krishna. Everyone has got the right to father's property, but not to encroach others' property. Tena chaktena bunjita madgrida kastyasvidanam. He's Upanishad 1. If people accept this philosophy, then the whole world becomes Vaikuntha. There's no quarrel. Everything becomes happy. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Now, I'm just trying to find where we left off in there it is. This is where we left off. Jiva Mukta Prabhu, it's your turn. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance.
Where do I start?
Because spiritual science.
Okay. Because spiritual science does not belong to the bodily platform, it is on the spiritual platform. It is very nice. Just like when you go to a lawyer or to an engineer or to a physician, you do not inquire whether he's a Brahmin or Shudra. Simply, you have to know whether he's a lawyer, that's all. Whether he's a physician, actually. If he knows the medical science, he may be a Brahmin. He may be a Shudra, he may be a sannyasi, he may be a householder, it doesn't matter. Your business is with a physician, with a lawyer. Similarly, your business is to understand Krishna. So anyone who knows Krishna perfectly, you have to go there. Tad Vijnanaratam Sagarum Eva Bigachet. It is, Vedic injunction is not that you have to approach a sannyasi or a grihasta or an Indian or American. No, Gurum. And Guru means who knows the science of Krishna.
So this Bhaktivinoda Thakur was grihasta, a very responsible officer, magistrate. And he was so exalted that he would come from his office generally at 5 o'clock, then take his supper and immediately go to bed. Immediately, say at 7 o'clock in the evening, he goes to bed and he wakes up at 12 o'clock. So suppose he goes to bed at 7 o'clock in the evening and wakes up at 12 o'clock at night. It is sufficient sleep, 5 hours. One should not sleep more than 5 to 6 hours, minimize as far as possible. The Goswamis used to sleep not more than 1.5 hours or 2 hours. Sleeping is not very important thing. Even big politicians, they used to sleep for 2 hours. So especially in spiritual line, you should minimize as far as possible. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, minimize. Gradually, it comes to nil. Raghunath Das Goswami, he was eating only a little piece of butter every alternate days, not daily. Wow. Yeah, that's a really low calorie diet. Bhavatrini.
So this Bhaktivinoda Thakur regularly, he was coming from his office, and after taking his supper, immediately he goes to bed and wake up at 12 o'clock. And he used to write books. He left behind him about 100 books. And he excavated the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, organized how to develop that birth site, Mayapur. He had so many business. He used to go to preach about Chaitanya's philosophy. He used to sell books to foreign countries. In 1896, he attempted to sell Life and Precepts of Lord Chaitanya in the McGill University in Montreal. So he was busy Acharya.
I'm checking, there was one devotee I was checking with to see if Life and Precepts of Lord Chaitanya was still there, because I heard one devotee stole it.
Yeah,
And I wanted
we
to,
heard it was stolen. Yeah. But
huh?
it's good yeah, we heard the same thing, but it's good to check.
Yeah, I forget exactly who was working on that project. I was working with them on it. I told them to go there and look, because I've been to that Department of Religion before where that book was.
I heard it was taken, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
but we need to put it back, or at least another copy.
Oh, please, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was privileged to, in 1976, I was Pujari in Krishna Balaram, and the Pujari of Nitai Gaur, Durantavira Prabhu, he got $1,000 from his parents. And I said, well, what do I do? I said, Prabhu, let's go to Puri. Let's go to, we are the last days of our visa. They will come every day to check our passports. So we made it to Puri. And as we were leaving, we made it to Calcutta. And then the Pujari said, you're lucky. If you take the train tonight, it's 12 hours train from Calcutta to Puri.
Right.
And you'll get there for Snana Yatra. So we made it. And as we descend in the train, just about to get onto the platform, we hear, Haribol, Haribol, Prabhu, Haribol. And I look and it's a brahmachari from Gaudiya Math, big black rims, the glasses. And he says, I read all your Guru Maharaj's books. Come with me, come with me. So he took us to, guess where? Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, the place where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was born. And it was full of squatters, but the first two rooms of the place were occupied by Gaudiya Math. And there was a brahmachari, 90-year-old brahmachari who had a dispensary. And the rest of the house was all taken by regular people. But the well was still there. It was a 10-foot in diameter well with a long garden in back. It was beautiful. Nowadays, it became the Gaudiya Math, I think Daita Madhava's Maharaj's group built a temple there. And with the high relief story of what the place is and like that.
Nice. Your turn to read, Prabhu. Would you like to read 2 paragraphs?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
one has to adjust things. Not that because I am Grihastha householder, I cannot become a preacher. It is the business. Aside, give me water. It is the business of sannyas or brahmachari. No, it is business of everyone. The whole world is suffering from want of knowledge. The present civilization is animal civilization. They do not know anything beyond eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's all. This is animal civilization. Animal does not know beyond these 4 principles of life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's all. No, human life is meant for something else. What I am, what is God? What is my relationship, my relation with God? What is this material world? Why am I here? Where I have to go next? So many things one has to learn. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This is human life, not that eat and sleep, have sex, live and die someday like cats and dogs.
Your voice is cutting out. It's chopping up. I don't know what's going on. Krishna Chandra, your turn, Prabhu.
Thank you. Therefore, There is need of acharyas, teachers, for propagating spiritual knowledge, Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, although he was a grihasta, householder, a government officer, magistrate, but he was acharya. So from his dealings, from his life, we should learn how one can become a preacher in any stage of life. It doesn't matter what he is. There was one incident, very interesting. He was magistrate in Jagannath Puri. The system is, Jagannath Temple is a very big establishment. In the temple, 56 times daily, bhoga is offered. You'll find in the temple always at least 500 to 1,000 people gathered, and they come from outside, and prasada is ready. If you go and ask in the Jagannath Temple that we are 100 men come from outside, we want prasada, yes, immediately ready. So it is a huge temple.
Nanda Patni.
This is one temple, but there are many thousands of temples in India where prasad is distributed. Now it's minimized by our present government. They think that it's an unnecessary expenditure. They're minimizing, but not unnecessary expenditure. They don't understand. Formerly in India, there was no necessity of hotel. Anyone goes anywhere, even in the village, he goes to the temple, prasad is ready. There's no need for going to a hotel. You pay or you don't pay. If you say that I want a little prasad, yes, take it. That's the system still. There is the Natadwar temple in Rajasthan, where you pay 2 annas only. 2 annas means 1 cent. You get sumptuous prasad for 2 annas, all very nice prasad still. So prasad distribution in temple is long-standing usage. I think I've mentioned this before, but I had the fortune of being in Natadwar, and we were on, women's traveling party, and it was extraordinary to see the prasad distribution there, because the Brahmins would come with these huge trays from the noon offering, and they would come around to all the shops, and everyone would get Mahaprasadam. I mean, it was just so extraordinary to see.
Where's that located, Natadwar, exactly?
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Is that Gujarat?
No, it's Rajasthan.
It's
Do you
Rajasthan,
remember the
yes.
town?
We went there with Bhavatrini too. Do you remember? It's an amazing, it's like a citadel. It's a city in itself. I never seen such a huge scale in my life. Let's say it's a 50 by 50, maybe about 20 yards by 20 yards scale, where the cars come with grain and they wait it all there. It's a platform, but it's a scale. And then as you walk, it's all stone. There's a building for the sewing of all the dresses and like that. And what I like, there's the famous laglus there. Remember, Didi, Nanda, the famous sweet balls that they last forever.
Oh, I don't remember. I do remember that I actually felt that I might get crushed to death.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
Open, remember?
Yeah, but when we went to, the ladies were allowed in the very front part of the temple, and then there were platforms going up. The men, we had to be in the back, and the pujari comes. He has his upper cloth, and if he throws the cloth, if he touches you, that means you should move on. And it's just like hundreds of people going by. But Bhavatrini was very lucky. They let her stay there.
He told me to sit down on the platform.
Told her he looked at her and said,
altar,
sit down here.
and look at the deity.
So she fainted.
No, I fainted before that. When I first went through with the crush, like you went through.
Yeah.
I was like, I was crushed and I couldn't breathe, and I like passed out for a second, and I was out the door when I got back.
You get carried in a wave.
Yeah, I never fell
Yeah.
down. I was
You
like,
sounded
I
genuine.
like fainted, but I never fell down.
But
And
it's
then,
not, it
then
feels
they
so
told
amazing.
me the ladies were allowed to go up to the front part that had a little gate, and it was lower, and you go in and the altar's right there. And the pujari kept hitting everyone so that they keep moving it. He made me sit down and look at the deity for about a minute. So that
Wow.
was amazing.
I want to go. I want to go.
Yeah.
Let's go,
but
Mukta. Let's go.
before that, you feel it's like, it's a huge place. And so you think, oh, and reverence, But as you coming in, there's all this really home-like feeling. It's Vrindavan.
Vrindavan.
It's Vrindavan. It's unique, and so at that time it was like a novel. I don't know. I mean, there was this blind man singing this amazing bhajans. I don't know.
We're
who he
waiting for
was,
the doors to open.
but we're waiting there, and then they took us to another. There's another section with Balakrishna,
and he has a swing.
and he has a swing. He's got
cradle.
all solid gold toys.
They're crazy
And
about
someone
Krishna.
is dressed up like Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and they come to see Gopal.
And
They have
the
like a
pujari
whole
was
show going on for Gopal.
It's that there is pujaris, that there is dancers, there is singers. So the singer was a big Rajasthani, big mustache man with turban, and he's doing this, singing to. I said, wow, that's what the flamenco, that's what that traditional singing.
Right.
It was just like you can see how the origin of everything is.
They took us to
is
see
who Krishna is.
the place where they make the deity clothes, where they make the ghee. Everything was like gigantic, huge scale.
Where they grind gold, they grind, all this, everything is done by hand. So I just like remember one thing, and I think all of you, if you can, please go. Prabhupada, we were 4 in Mayapur and in his room, and we had darshan. And I was like, and then at one point, Prabhupada said, you must come every year to this holy dham, because he said, whatever you do here or devotional service is 1,000 times more powerful than what you can do out in the West.
And this is the deity that was buried underground. And was it?
The Madhavendra Puri.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he went and
That
got
wonderful festival for him.
Yeah. And then he went and got the sandalwood.
The Anakut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ivan Mukta Prabhu. Sorry.
We got
Sorry, I
lost
didn't
in
mean to cut you off.
Rajasthan there for a minute.
I'm just trying to finish this. Ivan Mukta, can you continue, Prabhu?
Sure, yeah. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the Jagannath temple is managed by a body, and it is the custom that the local magistrate of the district, he becomes the president or manager. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur was manager in that sense because he was magistrate. The managing committee was being presided by him. So there was a complaint in Orissa. This Jagannath temple is situated in Orissa, Utkala. Utkala, the state, was originally belonging to Dhruva Maharaj. His son's name was Utkala, Maharaj Utkala. Anyway, so this Utkala, there was a pseudo yogi. He declared himself that, just like you'll find nowadays also. There are so many rascals declaring that I am incarnation of God. And they know some mystic powers. They play some jugglery, and foolish people take them, oh, he's God.
So there appeared one like such pseudo god, Vishnu, in a village of Orissa, and he was dancing rasa dance, and foolish people were sending their daughters and wife to dance with him. You see? There were so many. Not only that, people are so foolish. They do not know. They want to be cheated. And these cheaters come. He declared that I am God. I am Vishnu. So there were sane men also. They took objection. What is this nonsense? This man is dancing with ladies and gentlemen or girls. So they filed a complaint. At that time, it was British rule. They complained to the governor or the commissioner, very high officer. The commissioner knew that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Nirhari Prabhu?
His name was Kedarnath Datta. Kedarnath Datta, his household name. So the commissioner of the division, he knew that Kedarnath Datta is a religious man and he's magistrate in charge. So he handed over the case for inquiry. What is this complaint? You please inquire and do the needful. So he was a pure devotee, and he understood that this rascal is a bogus man, cheating people. I must inquire. So he went to the village in plain dress with some constables, police constables. They were also in plain dress. And as soon as he appeared, that rascal yogi, he said, "Oh, you are Kedarnath Datta. So very nice. I shall make you king of India. Please don't try to bother me." Because, unquote, because he could know that he has come to inquiry about my Rasa Lila.
Bhavatrini?
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, first of all, said, "Sir, you are such a great yogi. Why are you in the village? Why don't you go to Jagannath Puri? There is a temple and Lord Jagannath is there. Better you go there and see the Lord and be happy. Why you are in this village? Oh, Jagannath, that is made of wood. I am personally the Supreme Lord. That is made of wood." Oh, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a devotee. He became fire, laughter. He was insulting. Ache Shila Dir, Gurushu Naramati, Padma Purana Brahma Kanda 25:15-18. According to Shastra, if somebody thinks, just like here is deity, if somebody thinks, oh, it's made of stone, it is stone to the eyes of the non-devotee, but it is personally supreme personality of Godhead to the devotees. It requires the eyes to see. So devotee sees in a different angle of vision.
Krishna Chandra?
Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he entered the Jagannath temple, immediately he fainted. Oh, here is my Lord. And the non-devotee is seeing it is wood, a lump of wood. Therefore, to the non-devotee, he remains always as wood, but to the devotee, he speaks. That is the difference. Premangyana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Brahma Samhita 538. If God is everything, why wood? Through wood and stone, God cannot manifest. If God is everything, according to Mayavadi philosophy, that's a fact. God omnipotent. He can express himself even through wood and stone. That is God's omnipotency. That is called omnipotency. Not that God is unable to express himself through wood and stone. Then how he's omnipotent? Omnipotent means his potency can be expressed through anything.
The Patni?
Because anything, everything is the expansion of God's energy. Parasya Brahmana Shaktis Tatedam Akilam Jagat, Vishnu Purana. The whole world is manifestation of different energies of God. Therefore, just like through the energy of electricity, the electric powerhouse, although far, far away from this place, was expressing there is electricity. Through this glass, through these wires, the power can be expressed. There is a process. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur became very much, because a devotee cannot tolerate blaspheming another devotee or God. So as soon as he said that, why shall I go to Jagannath Puri to see the wooden Jagannath? I'm personally Vishnu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur immediately ordered his constables, arrest him, arrest this rascal. So he was arrested.
Ivan Mukta?
And when he was arrested, he had some yogic mystic power. All the constables, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his family member, became affected with high fever, 105 degrees fever. So when he came back, his wife became very much disturbed that you arrested Vishnu and we are all going to die. We have got now high fever. Bhaktivinoda Thakur replied, yes, let us all die, but this rascal must be punished. This is the view of pure devotee. So he was put into the custody, and there was a date fixed for his trial. And all these days, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself and his family especially, they were suffering from high fever. Maybe that yogi was planning to kill all the whole family. But it was going on as fever. So on trial day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Kedaranath Datta, when he came to the bench, the man was presented, the so-called yogi, and he had big, big hairs.
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered that bring one barber and cut his hair. So no barber dared. The barbers thought, oh, he's the Lord Vishnu. If I offend, as he's suffering from fever, so I shall also die. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered that, give me the scissor, I'll cut. So he cut his hairs and ordered him to be put into jail for 6 months. And in the jail, that Vishnu incarnation managed to took some poison and he died. So this is one of the incidents. There are many incidences. He was very strong man. He punished many pandas in the tirthas who exploit visitors. So this is the position of devotee. In spite of his being a responsible magistrate, a householder, still he was acharya. So we have to follow the acharyas. Nirhari Prabhu?
If we are at all interested in spiritual science, then we must follow the Vedic instruction. Tat vijnanartam sa gurum eva vigachet. We must approach. You cannot have spiritual knowledge simply by speculating. Impossible. Simply waste of time. Srama eva hi kevalam. Srimad Bhagavatam 128. You must go to in the Bhagavad-Gita, therefore, it is recommended Acharya Pasanam, Acharya Upasana, not only worshiping the Lord, but also the Acharya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Guru Krishna Kripayam Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 19, 151. Guru, Acharya, and Krishna. One should seek favor of both of them, not that I am now seeking favor of Krishna.
Bhavatrini?
What is the use of guru or acharya? No, you cannot overlap acharya and go to Krishna. This is not possible. Krishna will not accept you. Just like if you want to see a big man, you should go through his secretary, through his orderly doorkeeper. Similarly, our process is acharyo pasanam. Go through the acharya. That is the injunction of the Vedas. Tarko pratishtaha. If you want to enter into the spiritual world, you cannot get through simply by arguments because there is no limit of argument. I place my argument in one way. Another man who is better arguer, he places his argument in a different way. So if you simply go on arguing, it is not possible. Tarko prashtistaha. It will never help you, argument.
Krishna Chandra?
Shrutayo vibinaha. If you think that I shall read scriptures and I shall understand God, no, that is also not possible. Shrutayo vibinaha. Scriptures are also different because scriptures are made according to time, circumstances, people. Just like Bible, Lord Jesus Christ preached in the desert, Jerusalem. Oh, where it is, people who were not so advanced. Therefore, his first instruction is, thou shalt not kill. That means they were very much engaged in killing affairs. Otherwise, why is this instruction? And actually, it so happened that they killed Jesus Christ. So that society was not very enlightened society. Can I just say one thing real quick? I mean, I did study the Bible for a little while, and I feel like, especially the Old Testament, there was a lot of fighting, and in that scripture, God himself was sanctioning this fighting. So to some degree, I mean, it was actually encouraged, it would seem, at least until Jesus was in the New Testament. Then things changed a little bit.
So what was the main point?
Different age.
Oh, I just think that the circumstances in the Bible about not killing, like it was a very basic command. I think just that there was also this encouragement to kill their enemies, which was apparent in books such as Numbers and the Bible. There's a book called Numbers where they were fighting other tribes.
So you're saying it's kind of a contradiction, although thou shalt not kill is there. There's other scripture, other texts, other books in the Bible that encourage killing.
I mean, personally, maybe I'm going off on a tangent, but I came to the conclusion that the Bible has a lot of contradictions.
So Prabhupada said, in one place, Prabhupada said, we cannot verify anything on the basis of the Bible because there is so many contradictions. And in a letter to Shama Sundar, he said, who are these people? Peter, Paul, John. He said, their testaments, were they pure devotees? Prabhupada asked.
I mean, Peter betrayed Jesus 3 times. He said, I don't know this man. And there was one thing, I don't remember the exact passage. They said, God does not punish the son for the father's sin, but he punished the first child of David and Bathsheba, and he had that baby killed due to the infidelity of King David.
Well, that's all. But in this, Prabhupada says we can't go and say, okay, I just read the scripture and I know the path. No, it says you have to go through the acharya.
Right. There's no disciplic. That's because there's no disciplic succession from Christ. Therefore, everything's all.
What did he tell Arjuna to do? Go kill these generals, didn't he?
I mean, there were some. I don't know if I should get into it. But
there was plenty of killing. The battlefield of Kurukshetra was ghastly, very ghastly.
Let's try to finish. We're almost done this reading.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I went off on a
tangent. It's okay. Ola is here. Who is Ola? Ola is here with us. Does anyone know who Ola is?
No.
Ola? Hello, Ola?
No, that's with
Hare Krishna. Hari Bolo, Ola.
I don't know.
I asked them to unmute, but I don't know if they will. Okay, anyway, where were we? Who was reading?
You got the script, Gora.
I finished.
Whose turn is it to read?
It's me.
Yeah.
Okay. So where it is?
I think. Okay. So where it is?
About Jerusalem.
People are not so advanced, therefore, no, actually he read that. So a scripture for a society which is not very enlightened and a scripture for a society which is very enlightened must be different. Just like a dictionary for the schoolboy, a pocket dictionary, and for the college student, international big dictionary. But both of them are dictionaries, but the small pocket dictionary is not equal to the big dictionary because it's different, made for different classes of men. That's such a cute example, isn't it? So scriptures are made according to different classes of men. There are 3 classes of men: first class, second class, third class. The third class man cannot understand the philosophy and scriptural injunction of the first class man. That's not possible.
Jiva Mukta?
Higher mathematics cannot be understood by the small schoolboys who are simply trying to understand 2 + 2 = 4. But 2 + 2 = 4 is equally good to the higher mathematics student. But still, higher mathematics and lower math is different. Therefore, it is said, Strutayo Vibhina, the scriptures are different. So if you simply try to understand what is God by reading scriptures, you cannot achieve. You must approach a guru. just like a medical book. It can be available in the market. If you purchase one medical book and study and you become doctor, that is not possible. You must hear the medical book from a medical man in the college, medical college. Then you will be qualified. And if you say, sir, I have read all the medical books, recognize me as a medical practitioner. No, that will be not.
Ola, would you like to read? Whoever you are. Your turn.
Oh my.
You have to unmute yourself, Ola. If not, I'll read. So Shrutayo Vibhina, scriptures are different. Arguments, that is also not helpful. One may argue better than me, than philosophy. The philosophy, it is said, Na sao munir yasya matam nabinam. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 17:186. One philosopher is differing from another philosopher. And just now today, Shama Sundar has purchased one book and different philosophers, so that you also cannot ascertain what is truth. Therefore, Shastra says, Dharmasatvam nihitam guyayam. The truth is very confidential. So if you want to know that truth, Mahajano Yena Kata Sapanta CC Madhya 17:186, you should have to follow the great acharyas, and then you will understand. Actually, this verse is Mahajano Yena Kata Sapanta, that's found in Mahabharata, but it's being cross-referenced here. Therefore, acharya upasana is essential. Upasana is very essential. In all the Vedic Shastras, the injunction is that Tadviganartam Sagurum Evabakachit Srotriyam Brahmanishtam Mukunda Upanishad 1-12. Tasmat Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam Bhagavatam 11:3-21. Anyone who is inquisitive to understand higher truths, he must surrender to Guru. Tasmat Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. One who is inquisitive, who is now inquiring about transcendental subject matter. Tadviri Pranipatina Pariprashna Sevaya, Bhagavad-Gita 4:34. So all the Shastra says, in our Vaishnav Shastra, also Rupa Goswami says, Adao Guru Ashrayam. In the beginning, you must take shelter of bona fide Guru Nirhari Prabhu.
So this Bhaktivinoda Thakur's birthday, we should adore, we should worship, because in the modern age, he introduced the disciplic succession.
Reintroduced.
Excuse me, the disciplic succession from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this philosophy, but within 200 years, because this material world is so made that whatever you introduce in due course of time, it will deteriorate. You make a nice house, but after 100 years, 200 years, or nowadays, even after 50 years, I know even 20 now, it becomes dilapidated. Don't build it out of wood. Prabhupada said, a gentleman's house is made of stone. So this is the nature's law, Kala. Time will destroy everything. Now British Empire, such a big, vast empire, now it is finished. The Kala, the time, will everything make finished. That is material. Anything material, it has birth, it has growth, it has got some opulence, then dwindling, then finished. That is the way of material. Go on. Oh, it's Baba.
So we are interested in spiritual subject matter. Therefore, the process is Adao Gurva Shrayam. One has to accept a bona fide spiritual master. That is our process. Without accepting a bona fide spiritual master, we cannot make any progress. It is impossible. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur happens to be Acharyas, one of the Acharyas, and he has left behind him many books. Chaitanya Shishtamrita, Jaivadharma. These are very important books. They're in Bengali and Sanskrit, and many songs. He has prepared many books of song. The song Ainam Gaya Gorachana Madhura Sware, that is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song. So we are trying to present Bhaktivinoda Thakur's books also in English translation. Gradually, you will get it.
Krishna Chandra?
So our adoration, our worship to Bhaktivinoda Thakur today, because he he may bless us to make peacefully progress in Krishna consciousness. Acharya Upasana. Simply by the blessings of acharyas, we can make very rapid progress. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhakto. 533. If we yasya prasadad bhagavad prasada, we sing every day. By the mercy of the spiritual master, Acharya, we immediately get the blessings of Lord. Immediately. Yasya prasadat. Yasya means whose? Prasadat, benediction. By the benediction of the spiritual master, Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada. If spiritual master Acharya is pleased, then you should know that Krishna is also pleased. You should know, though.
Nandapatni?
This is not very difficult. Just like you're working in the office, if your immediate officer boss is pleased, that means the proprietor of the firm, he's also pleased, although you didn't see him. That's a fact. Your immediate boss, if he's pleased. So similarly, our business, the spiritual line, is Guru Krishna Kripa. We have to first receive the merciful benediction from the Acharya, and then Krishna will be pleased, and he'll also give his blessings. Mad Bhakta. This is the version in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Mad Bhakta Puja Byadika. He says, Krishna says that if anyone worships me directly, and if anyone worships me through the Acharya, he's better devotee who is coming to me through the Acharya. Mad Bhakta Puja Bhakjadika.
Jivan Mukta?
So this Vaishnava philosophy process is go through the Acharya, servant of the servant of the servant. We should try to become servant of the servant. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalaya Dasa Dasanudas. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 1380. Dasa Dasanudas. We should not approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. That is not good. That will not be. In the Vedic injunction also it is said, Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Deve Tata Guru. Suteshwar Upanishad 623. If one has got unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yata Deve, and similar faith in Guru.
Of course, we must make Guru bona fide. Then it is disciplic succession. And that is also not very difficult to select. Who is bona fide Guru? Bona fide Guru means he presents himself as servant of God. He does not pose himself falsely that, quote unquote, I am God. This is bona fide. It is not difficult to find out bona fide. But this is the test. If anyone says that I am Guru or I am God, then he cannot be Guru because he has no knowledge. How he is God? But he can cheat some people. That is a different thing. You can cheat all people for some time and some people for all time, but not all people for all time. That is not possible. In your Hari?
You know who borrowed that one?
Who?
Uh,
Barnum? P.T. Barnum?
No, Bob Marley.
Oh, borrowed it. Okay, he didn't. He's not the originator of it.
No,
Right.
I mean, it's commonly quoted. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Mm.
kind of,
I thought you were giving the origin. Okay.
oh no. I would say then Prabhupada is, but I would say commonly quoted. So this kinds of guru who poses themselves, who, as I am God, he's false guru. The bona fide guru will say that I am servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna or God, servant of. That is the business of guru. He serves Krishna as Krishna desires. That is his business. That is also not very difficult. Krishna says, Krishna desires sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam braja. Bhagavad-Gita 1866. That you give up all other engagement. Just surrender unto me, and I will give you protection. Krishna says, so Guru's business is that you simply surrender to Krishna. What is the difficulty? Simply repeat the same thing. Nor for your not for himself, but for Krishna. He is bona fide Guru.
Bhavatrini.
So this Krishna consciousness movement is very bona fide because we say the same thing as Krishna says. We don't make any addition, alteration, not like big scholars like. It is not Krishna.
It's not to Krishna.
It is not to Krishna. Krishna says, mana bhava mad bhakta madhyat mam namaskuru. Bhagavad-Gita 1865. And the scholar interprets, it is not to Krishna. Just see foolishness. Krishna directly says, unto me. He says, not to Krishna. Misleading. Such misleading guru will not help you. So therefore, to find out a bona fide guru means that he does not change the words of Krishna. That is his position. He places everything as it is, and he has understood thoroughly the science, Jigyanas Su, Shreya Uttamam, Guru. What is the symptom of Guru? Tajmad Gurum Pradadyata Jignashu Shreya Uttamam. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:3-21.
Krishna Chandra.
Pardon me. Those who are inquisitive to understand higher scientific knowledge, Uttamam. Uttama means higher. Uttama, Madhyama, Adhama. There are three words: first class, second class, third class. So spiritual knowledge is Uttamam. Anyone who is inquisitive to understand first class knowledge, he requires to go to a guru. Those who are interested in third class knowledge, they do not require any guru. Third class knowledge means animal knowledge, how to eat, how to sleep, how to make arrangement for eating, how to make arrangement for sleeping. That is third class knowledge, because the animal also try for this kind of knowledge, how to eat, how to sleep. Therefore, this kind of knowledge is third class knowledge.
And second class knowledge, what I am, Atata Brahma Jignasa, the Vedanta, that is second class knowledge. And first class knowledge, when he actually understands what he is, he's the eternal servant of Krishna and engages himself in the service of the Lord, that's first class knowledge. And therefore, as soon as he comes to the first class knowledge platform, he becomes happy. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Nasoshati Nakangshati, Sama Saveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param, Gita 1854. So after being liberated from the material concept of life by the blessings of Krishna and Guru, one comes to the platform of first-class knowledge, where he engages himself directly in the service of the Lord. That is first-class knowledge. First-class knowledge means beyond liberation. Second-class knowledge is trying for liberation, and third-class knowledge means in bondage, like an animal. The animal, they're bound up by the particular type of body and has no, possibility of becoming liberated. That's animal life.
Jiva Mukta.
He left, actually. He left something in chat that he's leaving now.
Okay, but human life is better than animal life because if he likes, can make himself liberated from this bondage of material body. That is the facility. He can understand himself, what he is. He can understand what is God. He can understand the relationship between God and himself. He can understand what is this material world, because there are thousands of books of knowledge. Take it for Bhagavad-Gita. Everything is there, and it is meant for human being, not for the cats and dogs. Cats and dogs cannot understand, but a human being can understand. So this Krishna consciousness movement is to enlighten people to utilize this very nice life, human form of life, utilize it properly. To utilize it properly means to revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is there already. It is developed in human form of life, but it is now covered because due to our association with this material world for unlimited years background. Did I read two? I can't remember. we are coming through different species of life. Millions and millions of years passed away. Suppose I was a tree sometimes. I was standing up for 10,000 years in one place. We have passed through. That's a fact. That is evolution. Now we've got the opportunity or light. If you don't use this opportune movement and again go back to the cycle of evolutionary process, Jalaja Navalakshani Shtavara. He's describing the 8,400,000 in that verse. Nihari Prabhu?
Yeah, I like Prabhupada uses the evolutionary process.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, the proper way, not the
The
Darwin.
creationist and the evolution.
Right.
The evolution is that you go evolve from one species to the other.
Right.
So these are great. We are coming through now.
Yeah.
So these are great signs. Unfortunately, there is no opportunity for the people to study this science in school, colleges, or universities. They are simply teaching people that you work hard and gratify your senses. That's all. Therefore, a section, younger section, they have been disgusted. They have refused to cooperate with the society on account of this disappointing education. I know I was one of them. And this will increase because this sort of education cannot give peace or prosperity to the people. Problems are increasing. Therefore, our request is that if you want to decrease or completely finish all the problems of life, take to Krishna consciousness in the process of disciplined succession, and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, devotees. Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.
Shama Sundar. Prabhupada. There was questions and answers. Hold on, you went too fast. Are you going to answer any questions? Prabhupada said yes. Shama Sundar, if anyone has any
Well,
questions.
you and Bhavatrini take turns, okay? You be one person, Bhavatrini be the other.
Oh, okay.
Devotee girl.
Oh. Did Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also took sannyas in later years, is this right?
Shama Sundar. Did Bhaktivinoda Thakur take sannyasa? He repeats the question. Prabhupada, yes. In very late years, in his retired life.
Any other questions? Shama Sundar.
Prabhupada, you said that an animal life has no chance for liberation. What would happen if an animal came in contact with a pure devotee? Prabhupada.
Yes, there is chance of deliverance.
Devotee. Jai.
Right.
Yes, even an animal, because he'll hear Hare Krishna from the pure devotee, that will not go in vain. He'll give prasadam. He does not know, but the devotee out of compassion gives prasadam, chants Hare Krishna. He also gets the opportunity of hearing. So he'll also be liberated. One dog during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, he also became liberated. There is a history. Shivananda Sain's dog, he was liberated by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. So by the association of pure devotee, therefore, Bhaktivinoda, there is one song, he prays to the Lord that Kita Janma Hoi Jata Tuya Dasa from Saranagati. Kita means insect. My Lord, if I have to take my birth again, because a devotee does not pray to God for liberation, he simply prays that wherever I may take birth, I may not forget you. That's all. That is devotee's prayer. A devotee does not say that elevate me to the heavenly planet or Vaikuntha planet. No, you can put me anywhere.
Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krita Janma Ho. My dear Lord, I have no objection. If I had to take my birth next as an insect, what to speak of human being or other thing as an insect, but I must be in the house of a devotee. So that an insect, by eating the remnants of foodstuff left by the devotee, he'll be delivered. Kita Janma Ho Jata Tuya Bahir Mukha Brahma Janma Nahi Morash. I don't want my next birth as Lord Brahma. If I forget you, I don't want. That is wanted. The devotee prays to the Lord that he would be able to constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord. Never mind whether as an insect or as a king or as a dog. Never mind. That is devotees, pure devotee.
If one has accepted a bona fide spiritual master and he did not receive much knowledge from him, can he change his spiritual master at later?
Nanda, you want to read, or how do we do it?
Oh, I don't know.
What's
A
Prabhupada?
bona fide spiritual master, where's the necessity of changing?
No, he has got the knowledge from him, but can I change?
No, bona fide spiritual means he must get knowledge. He must get knowledge. He must inquire. The student must inquire from the spiritual master. If he remains dumb, then what bona fide spiritual master can do? Gosh, that's a real poke, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ado Guru Ashrayam Sadharma Prachat Nik Jignasu. But Rasamrita Sindhu. He must be Jignasu. He must be Jignasu. We get so many letters daily, so many inquiries. The student must be very inquisitive. Otherwise, how shall he make progress? If he remains dumb, then what the bona fide spiritual master can do? If you go to a very nice school, but if you do not study, if you do not inquire, then what's the use of going to the nice school? I mean, that's where Prabhupada always said, have you read my books?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm. So, are we
You
carrying on here?
You must be.
Who's-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Krishna Wonder?
carry on, someone.
Shall I?
Finish the
Okay.
Prabhupada and I'll
Yeah.
do the Indian lady.
Uh-huh. Oh, you want me to do this?
Somebody.
You
I'll do
must
it.
be
Yes,
also very
please.
alert.
Thank
Yeah.
You must be also very alert to inquire, to understand, to make progress. Then it will be all right. If you do not utilize the benefit of having a bona fide spiritual master, then that is your fault. You must utilize the opportunity. We are publishing so many books, so many literatures, magazines. Why? Just to enlighten more and more. But if you don't take advantage of this, how can you make progress? Change of spiritual master requires when the spiritual master is not bona fide. Otherwise, there is no necessity of changing.
How does one contact the spiritual master? Through a book, can you contact the spiritual master?
No, you have to associate.
Can you associate through a book? She asked.
Yes, through books and also personal, because when you make a spiritual master, you have got personal touch. Not that in air you make a spiritual master. You make spiritual master concrete. So as soon as you make spiritual master, you should be inquisitive.
If the spiritual master, Prabhupada, worships God through a demigod, is he bona fide?
No, he does not know how to worship. How can he be bona fide? Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam, Bhagavad-Gita 1866. Why he should go to the demigods? That means he has no knowledge. Krishna says, mam ekam. Why should you go to others? That means he's insufficiently advanced. Why should you go to the demigods? What is the necessity? He is not bona fide because he has insufficient knowledge. Bona fide spiritual must be sufficient knowledge. Krishna says, mam ekam. God says, mam ekam. Why he should go to the demigods? That is his proof that he's not bona fide.
If one accepts initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, but continues to perform material activities, are they still bound by the law of karma?
He has to do everything under the instruction of the spiritual master. That is his duty. Shishya. Shishya means who voluntarily accepts disciplinary measures from the spiritual master. He's ruled by the spiritual master.
Can the death of a spiritual master take to us, or I can get, if that spiritual master is still guiding us after the death?
Yes. Just like Krishna is guiding us, similarly, spiritual master will guide. We are being guided by Krishna, by the Bhagavad-Gita. Although Krishna is not physically present, so-called, Krishna is present always. But even if we say that Krishna is not physically present, as he was present before Arjuna, still his book Bhagavad-Gita is there. and that Bhagavad-Gita is non-different from Krishna. Krishna and Krishna's teaching, the same, absolute. That is absolute truth. Krishna and Krishna's here form the same. It is not that we are making show of offering Krishna some food. No, we are offering directly to Krishna and he's eating. Krishna being absolute, he can perform through anything, provided we are sincere and serious. All right.
Nanda Patni, I know you want to go, but I want to hear from you if any highlight of all that we read tonight. Was there something that jumped out at you that stuck with you?
There is a funny thing that's been totally on my mind from the reading. It goes back early to when Prabhupada was giving these examples of these nonsense people saying, I am God, I am God. So when I was a young devotee, I was going out every day from the Bombay temple to the stations to sell books, to distribute books. And I would always be at Howrah station, which is really super, super mega busy. And I would say every single day, the archetypal Indian guy would come up to me with the wobbly head, and say, I am Bhagavan, I am Bhagavan, I am Bhagavan. And I was young enough to just kind of roll my eyeballs.
Here comes another one.
And just sort of say, I know, and I would try and
I met your other incarnation. I met your other incarnation a few hours ago.
I know, they were so unbelievably pesky, and about an hour later, they'd come back and stand sort of 2 feet away from you and go, I am Bhagavan, I am Bhagavan. I mean, it's just such a funny memory, they just would come out of the woodwork, these people, it was, even at the time I thought it was very funny, and to this day I still find it very funny.
So much Mayavad influence. Why Prabhupada's pranams nirvishesha shunyavadi, big part of his mission. One of the things that stood out for me is where I think in the Bhaktivinoda Thakur story, it was Srila Prabhupada was referring to the Lord being omnipotent and why he would not be able to be present in stone. And I was just thinking, whoa, the Jews, the Christians, especially the Muslims, they'd have a really, we're idol worshipers, right? But I was thinking that's a good argument that Prabhupada's presenting. You can ask them, well, do you believe that God is the word actually omnipotent or is it omnipotent? Or it can be both?
Either way, through history. Yeah.
So my dear Christian, my dear Muslim, my dear Jewish person, do you believe God is omnipotent? Oh, yes, of course. Well, then why can't he be present in his form? Because they don't have any concept, right? They have no concept. Although Achyutananda did give the point, I remember in one old lecture, ITV lecture, that the Christians in South America, they will actually make a garland for Lord Jesus. They'll put garlands on Jesus
and Mother Mary.
They
And
offer
Mother Mary.
and
my,
Mother
my
Mary.
family, my family brought Virgin Mary that's probably now 600 years old.
Wow.
And they would dress her and like that. And
Wow.
doing Sankirtan in Mexico, which is North America, technically, all over, it's a very personal worship. It's like it's a deity. So one of the acharyas was noting that the tendency to worship the personality, even in the Jewish tradition, Bhavatrini tells me of the amazing temple in Atlanta where the scripture will surface up, and there were at the time where the scripture would come up, there was a chorus of singing and glory. So
The Torah.
we worship a book too, Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is in the form of a book, isn't it?
Actually,
So that tendency is there.
that the Torah coming out of the ground with lights and then the choir singing, and it was automatic. He'd push a button and the thing would open up and the Torah would come out. That's actually modeled after the Temple of Solomon. There are 2 pillars there and they had sand or something in them. And so the actual stones, the 10 Commandments, is that what they were
Yeah, they
actually
The Ark of
there.
the
So it
Covenant.
looked like nothing was there. So it was for protection, actually. And then you push a button and the sand would pour out of the columns and the
Was
10
it that
Commandments would rise up.
one of the most ancient elevators?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And when there was some invading Babylonians or somebody that invaded, when they invaded Israel, they were looking to get the Ark of the Covenant.
But Chutananda was telling us
Achutananda was
this.
telling us this. Achutananda Prabhu,
Yeah,
a month ago on our chats here, on our
yeah.
readings, he was telling us about that and how when the priests knew of the invasion, they lowered the Ark of the Covenant onto the underground, which were full of caves and passages, and they were able to manage to make it disappear.
So it looked like that the tablets were already gone when they came to invade, but actually they were still there. And the top part was empty because the tablets had to be, a button had to be pushed and then they came up.
This was
Yeah,
located
there
in
were caves
Jerusalem.
in Vrindavan.
Jerusalem.
Yeah, there are. I was just hearing from Indrajumna the other night that when the Muslims came to invade Vrindavan, underneath one of the temples, I forget which one, it might be a few, there are actually caves under
Radha
there.
Govinda.
No,
We-
no.
Yeah.
But the only
Yeah.
there is one. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, and he was saying that he actually went down with a flashlight and everything and sat down there and chanted japa and everything. So you can still go down into the caves to this day.
Yeah,
Well,
they
can you
took
send me
us-
that link, please? Can you send me the link? for
Okay,
that?
yeah.
They took us when we went to Govindaji's temple. The Pujari saw Bhavatrini and I, and for some reason he called us to the side, so we went to the back, and then he asked us who we were disciples of, and we told him, and he said, "Oh, please come with me." And so we went down to a little cave with Purnamasi that Rupa Goswami worshipped. Was there. There's a little deity of Purnamasi. And then he made us come back up through the stairs. We just following. All of a sudden, we were in the altar with Govindaji.
We were in the
And the-
deity room.
and the
We
deity
didn't even
room.
realize it.
Wow.
We're in the deity room.
Well, I
and then
would
he
just
had
like
us
pay our
put
basis.
our heads on Govinda's feet.
And there was a stone,
Wow.
actually, a stone that he showed us.
You lucked out.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to our credentials,
But
we're
this
disciples of
Purnamasi
Prabhupada.
deity was
But yeah,
put
it's on a
there by
cave.
Krishna's grandson. That
But
Oh, Krishna Nab? No, what?
Krishna's grandson,
No, but
He
what was
will-
his name? Rajanab? Or what was it?
Raja.
Vajranath.
Raja
Vajra
means
thunderbolt.
thunderbolt.
Okay.
He also brought the deity of Varaha. That's
still there.
That was
Um,
like
But
5,000 years
the only
ago.
deity that never left Vrindavan and it was hidden is Radharaman.
Right.
Radharaman was taken by the families.
But they
and-
said Shamasundar wasn't taken either, that he's the one that was given to Shamananda. But if you go to the temple of Radha Shamasundar, they say that he also was not taken.
But yeah, that was one of the things daily and going on Sankirtan and in the city that's so-called cultural city, that if we were idolaters, and also the false idea of Prabhupada in one of the paragraphs we read, he said that automatically renunciation will come. So it's always misunderstood.
But
What is true, Yukta Vairagya, utilizing everything for Krishna. So I had people on Sankirtan coming and offering jewelry, and I said, well, and then pulling it back, say, you see, you're not a spiritual person. You want money.
But what I don't remember if it was Kirtananda, but he was raised by he was very Christian.
Baptist,
The
weren't they?
Baptist.
Yeah, and
Baptist.
actually I got to meet Billy Graham. I think he's related to Billy Graham. But he would just say, yes, never worship idols. the idols are false images.
Mhm.
And we are not idolaters. Definitely, we agree with you. Never worship an idol.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
one of
don't
the
know,
first
somehow or other,
What was that?
however he worded it, the people would go, oh, okay. Then they would accept the deity form.
I think it's in the Christian faith, I think it's the first commandment. Thou shalt not worship false gods before me.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
So I had, especially in Canada, I remember was in the Olympic Games or was it World Fair or
World
something?
Fair,
Remember?
Expo 67.
Yeah.
Expo 60 something, yeah. And the Christians were there with big signs and like that, and they saw us distributing books. So that was always that thing. Another thing that came out was that, well, God has given us dominion over all of the animals, so why can't we eat them?
Oh God. Yeah.
It
I'm
was
going to
like,
have to go, Prabhu. So
Okay.
I'm running late.
Thank you very much for
Yeah.
coming together to worship,
know.
to honor Vamanadeva and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur tomorrow.
and is Jiva Goswami also the
And
appearance of
Jiva
Jiva
Goswami, everyone.
Oh, also, okay.
Everyone. It's a
See
big
you on
day.
Monday. Krishna willing, see you Monday. Vanchakalpa.
Yeah.
That's his birthday.
Shri Vamanadeva
Hari Haraya.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki
Ah,
jai,
Hari
Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
Hari